What is up? If you're watching this, that means you got another day. Welcome to part 2 of the every mod you need on a Mustang video compilation. Look at Nate over there just shooting TikToks and whatnot. Okay, you're here because you want to venture into level 3. You want to see how to get crazy. Well, let's start this thing off with an obvious fuel change. E85. This stuff right here. We're gonna talk about it for like 2 seconds. I switched to full E85 recently, and boy do I love it. Aside from the fact that it's cheaper and better for the environment than gasoline and Teslas suck. E85 has a lot of benefits like being better for your engine, having better performance, and yes, more horsepower. You can unlock anywhere from like 20 to 40 extra wheel horsepower just from switching from pump gas to E85. Now, what is E85? It's ethanol. It's 85% ethanol, which is basically a byproduct of corn trash, and then 15% is like scraps from like slaughterhouses and stuff that turns into a liquid, gets mixed in with the ethanol, and boom, you got horsepower, baby. To switch to E85, you gotta do a couple things. Starting off with the fact that I needed bigger injectors, because with E85 burns faster, you gotta have bigger injectors to put it in the engine faster, so that way you don't starve your engine of fuel. I also got a fuel pump tucked in back here that I upgraded. It's gonna go right in there, and the fuel pump helps deliver that fuel from your tank up here faster, again, because you're burning it faster. MPGs will go down, but don't worry, it's worth it for the power. We remember, you're on level 3 because you don't care about anything but making your car faster. Practicality has gone out the window, which are tinted, by the way. Now, where do I get my E85? I have to stock up on it, make sure that I have it on demand here all the time at the gearbox. I get all my E85 at Pearson Fuels. If you live in California, Pearson Fuels is the place to go. You always know that they're gonna have crystal clear, perfect E85 and not some trash mixed in. If you don't know where to find it, you can download their app and it will tell you where to get E85. Guys, this isn't just like a shameless plug to Pearson. That's actually what I want to do. I actually use Pearson Fuels. I actually will not shop anywhere else. I actually use their app because it works and it makes my car faster. What more do you need to know? Now, when you switch to E85 or anything else on this list, let me remind you again, update your tune. You will definitely require a tune to fix your car anytime that you modify anything. The next step here is a throttle body. Now, I did this early on, but I didn't notice many benefits from it, so that's why I put it on level 3. I think this is a 73 millimeter is what I went with, a BBK one. I picked this up on American Muscle for about 550 bucks. All that does is open up the throttle to allow more air to go into your engine faster. I also added the throttle body spacer right here, which basically rifles the air as it goes in. I haven't noticed like night and day differences from these two mods, but it makes the car sound cooler because you get whistling sounds, and who doesn't love that? Next up, you're gonna want a fire extinguisher. I don't care who you are, put this in your car. This is the difference between putting out a small fire and fixing a part of your car and your entire car getting totaled, especially if you're boosted. Next up, we have the steering wheel. Oh, you guys probably wanna see this lit up, huh? Here's what it looks like. All right, so this is from Wolves of Carbon. It has like a little Bluetooth device down here with the OBD, which means I can scan through different menus here. We got RPMs and temperature, RPM gauge. I have speed and RPMs. And then of course we have the shift lights, which are customizable. This steering wheel was set up exactly to my specifications. So I wanted forged carbon here, a woven carbon cover here. This used the OEM center, but everything else is aftermarket. Alcantara wrap, blue and white stitching to match the outside, and I installed it myself. It wasn't rocket science to put in. I think these are about $800 and some change, but it's well worth it because this is the part that you see and touch every time you get in the car, so I underestimated how much fun I'd have with a custom steering wheel. Next up, we have the Recaro racing seats complete with the 4-point harness. I went with Schroth Racing, one, because they're blue. I picked these up on American Muscle. Obviously, the Recaro seats came with the Mustang, but you have lots of different options for seats. To everybody that likes to tell me that I have these set up incorrectly, I promise you this is exactly how they're supposed to be set up. They are designed specifically for this Mustang to be set up exactly like this with these exact seats. They're DOT certified. They're safer than regular seat belts. As long as you have them in there properly, you need it to be super tight. It has an anti-submarining belt across your lap, and I use these on the track all the time. I use them when I daily the car too sometimes, but they're a lot less comfortable than the OEM ones. Next up, we got the injectors. I have a fuel rail that goes around here. I popped off the manifold myself and installed these These are 81-pound injectors from Fuel Clinic. Remember, if we're gonna go 85, you need to deliver fuel faster, which means bigger injectors. So the stock ones went up to 55-pound injectors when they came with the ProCharger, but when I switched to 85, I gotta go even bigger. So that's why we have the 81-pound injectors in now. When I swapped to the 81-pound injectors and went full 85, I noticed a big difference in the car's power. And then of course your fuel pump, which is hidden in the back. I've already showed you guys. It's a 415 LPH. I think it's pronounced Deutschworks, whatever. That was what was recommended by MPT. You tie that up with the Fuel Clinic injectors, you got a recipe for E85. The S197 to convert to E85, all it requires is a tune. That's it, because you can open up that ethanol sensor that comes from factories. Okay, let's address the big boy under the hood. We got the ProCharger. I went with the P1SC-1 ProCharger from Lethal Performance. The reason I went ProCharger instead of turbo is because I appreciate having an engine that functions reliably. There's a lot of debate over turbo versus supercharger. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that have turbo kits or boost kits. I would recommend approaching those with caution because those kits tend to not include everything you need when you boost a car. There's a reason why this is in stage 3 of my groupings, because when you boost a car, you're gonna need a lot of things to go with it, like that drive shaft, like brakes, like a tune, like a blow-off valve, like an oil catch can that might not come with that kit. This kit is great because it comes with the intake. It's essentially plug and play. There were some modifications required to make this fit in my car and to make it cool properly. We'll get to that in a second. But as far as reliable boost goes, the absolute rocket of a blow-off valve that comes with it, which sounds way better than a turbo in my opinion, and the uniqueness of it, meaning that it's just something you don't see very often, hands down was the best way to boost this particular build. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going to do what's called pulley down. This is a 4.10 pulley. I'm going down a size so that we can create more boost. Right now I've got about 8 PSI. It's going to go up to 12.5 PSI, which just translates to more power. So this is a really cheap and easy way to get more power out of your boost system if you're running a ProCharger or a supercharger of any kind. Next up, this came with the ProCharger. I don't know if you can see it hidden under there, but that's my intercooler. I count it as a mod because it's an essential package when you boost, because this boy gets really hot, so you got to have some way to keep it cool. So that's our intercooler from ProCharger. Do have the big red blow-off valve. Guys, this is so important. Right there. If you've ever heard my car, that really loud whistling sound comes from the big red blow-off valve. If you get a ProCharger, make sure you get the big red blow-off valve from them. It's worth the extra $300 or $400 that it costs, because then your car goes from not only being boosted, but sounding like a literal rocket. That recommendation came from my roommate, Nate Ryder. This one you can't see, but I have an upgraded radiator. This is where Voodoo Autosport came into play, because they had to cut into the frame of my car to fit in this fat radiator because this engine was being pushed so much, it could not cool down enough. The other thing they did was they took out the fan that came with the ProCharger system and put the stock fan back in, because the stock fan is an absolute unit. The other thing that they did was they rerouted some of the hosing that came with the ProCharger system, so that way it's just more conservative. There's less things going on under here. Got me new brackets, fresh brackets and attachments. There was some custom work down here without getting too complicated. Bottom line is they did a lot of work in this area to make sure that this stays cool. Also put water wetter inside of my coolant box. Basically just keeps the whole system a good 15 to 20 degrees cooler. Don't use that if you ever plan to drive your car in the winter. It's not really a factor in California, so I can run water wetter pretty much year round. Even though I'm absolutely romping on this car sometimes in the canyons, the highest I ever see it get is like 205, 210 degrees. We also swapped out the thermometer in there to open up 8 degrees cooler, which means the whole system starts cooling faster. And the last two things on the mod list, you can kind of see it right there, but that is my lower control arm from Cortex. Cortex was recommended by Voodoo Autosport, so of course I went with that. Lower control arms just help you transfer all of that energy to your rear axle much better and prevent wheel hops, so that way you can plant that power to the ground and hook and book. Control arms are a great duo with a really strong front sway bar if you want to do some handling and suspension upgrade, along with lowering the car like we talked about earlier. And then finally, that guy is my diff. It's very difficult to see, but basically I destroyed my last diff just because a differential is where the gears are that we talked about, those 410 gears. I have so much torque going to the back end of my car, I had to have this whole thing rebuilt. Time for cosmetic stuff. Now, one of my favorite cosmetic mods is the switch underneath the steering wheel that turns on the LED system inside. XK Glow. I can separate the band, so let's make the front band blue and max it out. Let's make the rear band red and max that out so you can see the rears I have set up to do the floorboards. and the back seat, and then the front that's blue is gonna be this band across here that points down and illuminates the whole interior. You have different patterns here. I can make it strobe, I can change the speed of it, and this is a whole lot of fun. Get the carbon license plate frame is a real massive upgrade. This is what the stock one looks like. I wasn't a huge fan of the ridges. It was annoying to clean. Obviously, the wrap is a massive cosmetic mod. A lot of people ask me about the wrap. It depends on where you live and who's working on it, but bottom line is if you're paying under $2,000 for wrap, even if it's a solid color, it's probably not gonna be done very well. Odds are it's gonna start to come apart over time. It's gonna start to fade. You're gonna have bubbles. This wrap cost me close to $4,000. If I did it in LA, it would have cost over $5,500, and that's because it's a custom pattern. They had to wrap the whole car black, then go back and do each individual piece. They had to take all the body panels, the doors, and the grill and everything apart. It took a whole week to do it, but it was well worth it because Summit Auto, you guys absolutely crushed it. This one's really popular. Not a lot of people get to see it. The first aid stuff I've actually had to use several times for roadside assistant, and then it's covered by all the patches. I have one for each space mission I was a part of while I was in the Air Force. Domino's, we deliver Minuteman missiles anywhere in the world in 30 minutes or less. So funny. Another common thing that catches people's attention is the diffuser. I looked high and low for a great diffuser for this car, and this is the only one that I was happy with. Street Aero makes this for the S197. If you go to their website, you'll see my car is the demo car for it, so just click on that. They also make the front splitter. I looked everywhere for a splitter that I like. I think APR makes a really great one, but it was extremely expensive compared to the Street Aero one, which has been phenomenal. The Street Aero splitter is also functional, so you get some downforce with it, and then I added these rods in myself. A very cheap mod for your car that will make a great difference is a headlight and rear taillight marker tint kit. So you see the center pieces here are all tinted out, all the side markers. This marker's tinted and my headlights are tinted. That was all part of one package I got on AmericanMuscle.com. The fog lights here, just go to AutoZone and get some white LEDs so that they look nice and bright like your headlights. This is pretty important. A radar detector. I use the 9500 IX Passport. You can get this on Amazon. This was the best one that I could find. I think it's like 350 bucks. If you get out of one ticket, it's already worth its money. Get a dash cam. If anything happens to you, you're gonna want this. I also got this on Amazon. It's a top rated one there. You can find it, I think it was 40 bucks, and you can tap into accessory power and wire it in yourself. And on the topic of lights, on AutoZone, you can go get some blue LEDs to go in here. You can switch this out any color you want. Oh, don't touch the windows because they are tinted. I have my passenger side windows tinted, the quarter panel and the rear also tinted. And finally, the GT500 style Cervini lower grille. This was a little bit tricky to install because you have to take the whole bumper off, but it really completes the look, especially if you have an aftermarket upper grille. Okay, that's pretty much all the mods on this car. Like I said, if you really wanted to get crazy, you can do forge internals on the engine, and then you can turn up the boost a whole lot and really start to get crazy. On the S187 Mustang, do not cross 600 wheel horsepower or this thing will blow up, so I'm trying to stay far away from that. I want to be in the 550 to 600 crank horsepower range. That's ideal. If you have any questions on where to buy these parts, just drop a comment. I'd be happy to tell you what store I bought them at because I did lots of research to find the cheapest place to pick up each of these parts without getting parts that are cheap. Odds are is I also probably have discount codes for you. I don't get any kind of affiliate kickback on any of these. So if I refer you somewhere, it's because I genuinely want you to get the parts at that location because that location either treated me well or is the best place to get them in my opinion. I go to American Muscle for some things. I go to CJ Pony Parts for some things. I go to Lethal Performance. I go to MPT. It really just depends on what you need to get. I would never go to American Muscle to buy boost parts. I would never go to MPT to go buy aero parts. I would never go to Street Aero to... You get what I'm saying. If I said anything wrong or if you found any other better parts for your Mustang, also drop it in the comments. We're here to help each other. Again, I'm not like the expert in this field. I'm just speaking from experience of somebody that has built this thing up over the last 3 years and did every bit of research to try to do it the most cost-effective way possible because I was doing it on minimum wage. I think I bought this car. I did buy this car for $15,400 with about 20,000 miles on it, Roush RS stock, and built it up with everything you see now. I probably put easily another $20,000 to $35,000 on top of it, but now we are officially beating V8s on the drag strip. I have a completely unique build and I'm super proud of it. And at the end of the day, that's all you're really aiming for. Guys, I drop videos all the time. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Click the like button for me. It really helps me out, I promise. And I'll catch you at the next, oh, whoa. I would not end this video without shouting out my boys at the Longtail Rally. I know you guys keep hearing me talk about them, but there's really no other brand that I'm trying to promote harder on my channel than the Longtail Rally, and that's because they have the greatest rally out there, period. I don't care what you've heard. I would go on the Longtail Rally over Gumball even, because it comes down to the quality of the people that they invite and the quality of the people behind the whole brand. My whole brand is about aligning myself with high quality people, and the Longtail Rally are those guys. They have invested so much in me as a creator and the gearbox. They are a huge sponsor of ours, so you guys would be doing me a huge favor if you go follow them. I'm gonna put their handle up there. They will be having another rally that you could be a part of, whether it's just following along or actually being at one of the stops, because some of the stops are open to the public, so you can meet the crew, you can see supercars, and sometimes there might be more involvement than that. The best way to be connected is to follow them, understand their brand, and find ways that you can bring value to their brand. That's exactly what I did, and that's why I was able to attend the last one, and it was the best week of my life. All right, now we can end this video, guys. I will catch you at the next episode. Peace.
I might lie to you just to get through the night with you. Hope that's alright. No, you lie to me. It's only right.